In 1825, a new packet boat, the J.Q. Adams, was launched on the Champlain Canal. She departed Whitehall every Tuesday and Saturday morning and arrived at Waterford early the next day. Returning, she left Waterford on Sunday and Thursday evenings at 8 o'clock and arrived at Whitehall early the next morning. The proprietors declared their boat, quote, elegantly finished in both cabins, with sleeping berths for men on one side and women on the other. An advertisement of the time stressed their willingness to, quote, make every effort to promote the comfort and convenience of passengers. By the early 1840s, the Washington County Journal reported 2 competing packet boat companies on the Champlain Canal, running 6 days a week. At this time, Dr. Austin W. Holden, Grand Historian of Queensbury, is in his 20s, studying medicine at the Albany Medical College. He takes an overnight ride on one of these packet boats and under the pseudonym Hassan, provides the following humorous piece for the local newspaper.
As the somber shades of night began to gather like a wreath around the earth, the stars came out, one by one, from their hidden recesses in the dark blue vault, till the whole expanse of heaven was lit with a soft and mellow radiance that fell with wild and captivating beauty upon the hemlock-crowned and rocky ledges that lined the western bank of the canal, which looked like a tiny rivulet as it wound its circuitous route along the base of the mountain. The occasional cry of "Bridge!" served to break the stillness of the night and remind the numerous stargazers of the less beautiful but more important reflections evolved from a digest of the laws of gravitation, concussion, and reaction connected with the probable chances of procuring a broken head. The falling dew and cooling light breeze at length drove us to seek more congenial temperament in the cabin, where each one of us was soon absorbed in meditation, conversation, or sleep. I succeeded in locating myself in a quiet corner where I employed my oculars in discovering craniological developments upon the heads of my neighbors until I was disturbed by the steward calling for the fare while the cabin boy made up the berths. I was fortunate enough to obtain one of the middle tier, and after we had all retired, I could not forbear thinking that we must brave strangely resembling a parcel of Egyptian mummies laid upon so many shelves, ready for transportation to market. My sleep was for some time disturbed by an interesting colloquy going forward between a Scotch farmer and a French physician on pigs, their cultivation, and the diseases incident of the whole tribe of grunters. At length, tired nature yielded to the gentle influences of the drowsy god, and my spirit was soon reveling in the land of dreams. I thought that I had been on a dismal journey, solitary and alone, that I had just reached my native place, as the sun had retired behind the western hills, and as each well-remembered object burst upon my view, my heart thrilled with delight, till, as I turned an angle of the road, I came full in sight of the house where lived my Amy, the one for whom I had ventured to leave home and friends, to endure hardship and toil and privation, in the fond hope of being repaid by a joyous union with her I loved, and for whom I saw nothing in the future but a life of uninterrupted happiness. As I came nearer the house, I saw her standing by a rosebush, one that I had given her, and which she had nursed with tender care until it was nearly as tall as herself. Her back was to the road, and I walked softly up to the gate, opened it carefully, crept up to her side, put my arm around her waist. Before she was aware of my presence, she screamed slightly, and then I was about to impress a labial seal upon her nectar lips when I felt myself violently seized from behind. I looked around and saw her father, a man of Herculean stature. He had his arms around me, and, like the boa constrictor, each convulsive struggle of mine served but to tighten his grasp. I screamed, shouted, kicked, scratched, bit, all to no purpose, till at length, infuriated to madness, I made my tremendous spring and broke myself in two from the place where his arms were about me. The exertion woke me. I looked up and found that the canvas of the berth above me had given way and precipitated its occupant, a man of 250 pounds weight, down upon me, and I was almost suffocated with the pressure. I braced my hands and feet against the side of the berth and succeeded in rolling him off. It was nearly a week before I recovered from the fright and the exercise. I laid me down again and tried to sleep, but the vociferous snoring of my companions, the rippling of the waters, the constant creaking of the tiller combined to prevent it. Once, as I was quietly sinking into a drowse, there was a sudden lurch of the boat, which nearly threw me off my hammock. Then a sudden jam, and another, and then a frightfully crashing noise, like the breaking of timbers, and then a shriek, and the loud talk and swearing of men, while the shrill voice of a woman was occasionally heard screeching, "Mother!" at the top of her lungs. The packet had run foul of a boat that was towing up without lights. Again, I composed myself to sleep when the shouting of the hands and the grating of the boat sides and the sudden rushing of water told me we were in a lock, a succession of which now precluded the possibility of sleeping. I gave up in despair, got up, dressed myself, and went up on the deck. My joy was extreme to find that envious streaks did lave the severing clouds of yonder east. Night's candles were burnt out, and the jocund day stood tiptoed on the misty mountain tops. Thankfully, that the misery of the night was nearly over with, I almost vowed never to place myself in this situation or to sleep on a packet again. And it must have seemed strange that, in quotes, on a night so awful, such sweet morn could rise. The end.